Hi, welcome to Sports Today. Coming live to you straight after Stumps in Southampton. Again, about Stumps was called about 32 minutes ahead of the scheduled end of play because of bad light um, on day three. Well, you'd have to say this day belonged to New Zealand. They have that edge over India because India were bowled out for 217. They didn't quite add too many runs after they went to lunch at 211 for seven. Kylie Jamieson picking up a five-wicket haul, and really Ajinkya Rahane top scored with 49 for India, Virat Kohli 44. And in response, New Zealand were off to a great start. Again, their openers did very well before Ashwin struck to remove Tom Latham for 30. But it was really that partnership again which blossomed between Kane Williamson and Devon Conway, who has had a spectacular start to his Test match career. Devon Conway, in fact, scored a half century, but he was removed by Ishant Sharma at the fag end of the day. And just moments later, the players went off the field. And then the umpire said that if they went off around 6:30 p.m., then that would be it for the day, even though play was scheduled till about 7 p.m. British time and 11:30 p.m. India time. But that's that. In fact, then half an hour of play was again lost on day three in what has been a rain truncated World Test Championship final. You'd have to say, like I said, the day belonged to New Zealand because India, they would have been looking for a score in the vicinity of 260 to 80, but that wasn't to be. Ashwin came and played a couple of nice shots. He went on to score 22. There was some poor shot selection from Ravindra Jadeja. Ajinkya Rahane wouldn't be too pleased with his dismissal. Beg your pardon, Rishabh Pant's shot selection. He himself wouldn't be too pleased. But that's what it is looking like now. New Zealand 101 for 2 at stumps after India scored 217, which means the Black Caps are 116 runs behind India in the first innings. So that'll be you'd have to say New Zealand were the more would be the happier side at the end of the day. About the bowling though, India's pacers, lot was expected of them in the first. A lot was expected of them, but they were wicketless. You could argue whether you could say they relied too much on the pitch. They didn't get as much swing as they would have liked, but also the conditions went on to become better for batting, as is the case in England. Gradually, it just gets a little better. India, it wasn't as challenging as it was in the morning for sure. And New Zealand, who were I said this on one of my earlier broadcasts. I was a little surprised with the way New Zealand bowled in that first hour yesterday on day two, but coming back when play resumed on day three at India, with India 146 for three, New Zealand bowled much better lengths. They bowled much better lines. They got the ball to do a lot more. And from 146 for three, India collapsed to 217 all out, really losing that momentum, losing the way, uh, losing that losing the strong platform which was set up by openers Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, and then Virat Kohli, Ajinkya Rahane, that partnership. Um, in fact, the thing with India is though R Ashwin broke that partnership. He was the bowler who got that first breakthrough before Ishant Sharma got Devon Conway at the closing stages of the game. Sachin Chaudhary is saying tomorrow's first session would be very important for Team India. It would be indeed. It remains to be seen whether India can really get that early breakthrough. Um, Two of New Zealand's most experienced batsmen in the middle now. Kane Williamson, Ross Taylor, of course, came in to join Williamson, faced just two deliveries before stumps was called. Why are our bowlers, India bowlers, not swinging enough? Say somebody in the name of Phil Gates. But well, I think they've relied a lot on the pitch. They're not quite swing bowlers. They couldn't get the ball to move prodigiously, but they bowled good lengths. I thought they were really disciplined, but they struggled to get those wickets. On this pitch, probably you needed them to swing a little more, and also to be fair to the India Pacers, the condition had sort of eased out uh, over the last compared to what it was over the last 2 or 3 sessions. So it was a little easier to bat and there was a better value for the shots. So you're all of you asking about the weather update tomorrow. So the weather, well, there was some. It was there was pretty good weather forecast actually for the day, so there was not much interruption. There was a time when the players went off for some time. In fact, one over was lost due to rain. Um, just one over was lost due to a sprinkling of rain. But there is, from what I've seen on the weather forecast, there does seem to be some element, some chance of shower tomorrow as well. But there's light rain and gentle breeze, though, so it doesn't quite look like that doesn't quite look like extremely bad weather conditions. That's what I have. That's what it seems like. It seems like light rain and a gentle breeze, so it doesn't look like a lot of game time would be affected, and not doesn't look like a lot of game time will be lost. But well, again, scheduled play, end of play would have been 11:30 p.m. India time, 7 p.m. British time. That's what was initially scheduled, but couldn't quite get there. Bhuvi, a lot of you asking questions about Bhuvneshwar Kumar, but like we said, this was the team, this was the bowling attack that they looked that the Indian team wanted to put on the park, and they thought that was their best chance. And to be again, if you look at the way Ishant Sharma bowled, if you look at the way Mohammad Shami, I thought was pretty impressive. He did look dangerous in patches. Um, R. Ashwin was very good. He was very good, and he bowled with somebody of the experience of somebody having taken over 400 Test wickets, and then he got that first breakthrough. So don't rule these guys out yet. It's 101 for two. There is still a fair bit of cricket to be played. It's you could say that one wicket, that last wicket at the end of day's play, when Ishant Sharma got Devon Conway, that kind of pulled India back a little into that game. Before that, it would have been had New Zealand gone to stumps at 101 for 100 for one. You could have said that New Zealand more or less mostly dominated that day. But that one wicket at the end of the day undoubtedly will lift Indian spirits when they come onto the park tomorrow. But having said, uh, Anubhav C saying Shami Bumrah didn't get enough swing like the New Zealand bowlers. Yes, they did not get a lot of swing. Probably they relied a lot on the pitch like they do, Bumrah, Shami, Ishant. But also, like I said, conditions for batting improved gradually through the course of the day. And you saw that, you saw the difference there. In fact, I thought conditions were far more challenging yesterday. India's batsmen did incredibly well. Also, New Zealand didn't quite hit the right areas and didn't bowl as well as they would have liked in the first hour of play on day two. So that's the major takeaway from the 2 days of play that you've had. Again, a lot of you are asking about the weather. I can tell you from what I can see on the weather forecast is light rain and a gentle breeze through Monday. There is a chance of shower. There is some forecast for rain, but light rain. Mostly, it could, it will remain overcast in Southampton. Whether bad light forces interruptions, it forces undue breaks, is what we'll have to see through the course of Monday on, which would be day four effectively of the World Test Championship final. Well, it's been an intriguing day of Test cricket. If you look at it from that battle between bat and ball, Kylie Jamieson, you'd really have to. You'd really have to give him a lot of credit for the way he bowled. He was relentless. He was brilliant. In fact, he barely gave away any runs. He took those crucial wickets. He bowled with a lot of pace. He bowled with a lot of aggression. Used his height, and what more, he got rid of his RCB captain there, Virat Kohli. So there would be a lot of joy for the New Zealand players at the end of the day, especially that spell from Kylie Jamieson. With India's batting, Again, they rely a lot on front foot play. They've done that. It doesn't work in every condition. It's not the first time though. They've they've struggled, and there is not that there is that they've struggled in English conditions. But I thought for patches, the India did bat very well. They did not quite make the most of that start and that foundation from 146 for three, and for that you'd have to kind of question that shot selection. The way Rishabh Pant got out, did he get a little carried away after that boundary? Ajinkya Rahane was well set. He tried to pull the ball, and he that's not a shot. He'd be very pleased to get back and really come and look back at that replay. Um, Also, with the Indian batsmen, they would, of course, want to make amends in the second session, but that depends on how many India are able to restrict New Zealand for in that in their first session. That short selection, talking of short selection, even if you looked at the Devon Conway dismissal, he wouldn't be too pleased with himself. Also, getting out at that just at the barely at that last minute of play, right? Almost effectively at that last minute of play. There was so much he would have wanted to do. He's in such good form, starting off with a bang in Test cricket. The ball was foolish and it was just angling into the stumps, and um, Conway tried to flick it up around mid-on, and but that was the shot that is a shot that has paid him good dividends. But you sense that that ball from Ishant Sharma just straightened after pitching and angling into him. And all he managed to do was catch the outside edge, and it was it was a good catch. It was a pretty good catch there by Mohammad Shami, despite bowling all those overs. If India gets overcast conditions tomorrow, Ishant will pick more wickets, says Hemant Ravesh. Well, look, it depends on how, it's not about overcast conditions. It's not about, it's not a guarantee that you get wickets in overcast conditions. If that was the case, New Zealand would have had a flurry of wickets in the first hour yesterday. But look at some of the lines that they bowled. It was also about how many balls you're able to get the batsman to play. Look at the difference. Yesterday, you could see that India were happy to leave a lot of balls outside the off stump. There were a lot of deliveries which were pitched away from the body of the batsman. The moment you're forced to play at different angles and with the ball swinging in, or you get some movement of the air, that's when it becomes difficult. Will they be able to do that? Because today you could see that the Indian pacers, to answer what Hemant asked, it did look like they were relying a lot on the pitch. But it's in these conditions, it's also about how much you can move the ball off the air, how much aerial movement you can extract, and whether you're bringing the ball in and how much you're getting the batsman to play. If you, for instance, if what say Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill did a very very good opening partnership, but they were not in the first half 45 minutes. They were not under a lot of pressure to play those balls, and they were happy to let them go. See how Virat Kohli got out with that nipper there, and he was before that he was happy to let a lot of balls go by, a lot of balls. He was happy to leave a lot of balls. So it depends on the lines that they bowl. It depends on how they're able to maximize those conditions. If there's if to expose those overcast conditions. Kumkum TG is saying India will strike back tomorrow. Well, we would all hope that happens with Ishant Sharma, Shami, Bumrah. That's an excellent piece combination, excellent piece attack. There is, I think, they will still have a lot of say in this match, especially on day four. Now, with India really clearly they'll have to do a lot of catch up. New Zealand are now, India didn't get too many runs in that first innings, 217. New Zealand 101 for two, just 116 runs behind with 8 wickets in hand. So India have no option but to strike early and strike big tomorrow and get 2 or 3 wickets in that first session. And wouldn't it be a dream session for India if they get Kane Williamson, Ross Taylor out early? This is the New Zealand. Remember, they also bat pretty deep. They have Kane Williamson, Ross Taylor. They have Henry Nichols, PG Watling. They're batting Colin de Grandgame at 7 or 8. So that's a pretty strong New Zealand batting lineup also. But if they can remove those two, Kane Williamson, who's looking good he was unbeaten on 12 of 37. That's a pretty a strong batting lineup. So you'd want to remove those two as early as possible. You especially want to see the back of Kane Williamson and then Ross Taylor. Hemant is asking, do you think Bumrah settled as a bowler in England today? Well, again, you just don't go by that couple of spells. It was he I thought that he couple of spells that he bowled, I thought he was good. I would say that Ishant and Shami, of the three paces, I thought Ishant and Shami were the more impressive pacers. Ishant Sharma, because he knows exactly how to bowl in these conditions. He's been on multiple tours of England before. And again, against the left-handers, I thought he was pretty good. Mohammad Shami, you saw when he was landing the ball a little up, you could see what sort of threat and danger he could become. He could become to New Zealand. So with Bumrah, you'll have to see and just hope that he comes back and does a little more tomorrow. Also hoping that India would come back hard tomorrow. Sachin, fingers crossed, of course, for all of us. We're just looking to see that India does well from here on and really fight back with big wickets. Anubhav, score prediction for the New Zealand first innings. Well, it's difficult to predict scores, but I'd say India would be happy with a 50, 60 run lead here because it's if India do bowl New Zealand out quickly, it could be a low scoring game. They would try to get as many as possible in the as big a lead as possible in the first innings. So 101 for two. Let's just hope for the best for India and say they are able to bowl out New Zealand for 170, 180. That would be 160, 170. Give them some sort of cushion, some sort of lead before they put on a better batting performance in that second innings, where hopefully conditions would have improved uh, marginally for batsmen. Conway was exceptional. He was absolutely really good up until that dismissal. Though he would be gutted with that short selection. He would have wanted to go unbeaten at stumps, and he'd be more displeased with himself because of the mode of dismissal, because of the short selection. He would know after scoring so many runs against England in England that shot was not on at that stage, especially with the fading light, and you could see that stumps would be around the corner anytime soon. Well, that's all the updates. That's all the update from Southampton. We've spoken about New Zealand's batting. We've spoken about India's bowling. Ashwin, of course, you know, he was pretty good. He bowled the bulk of the overs for India. He bowled, in fact, he bowled 12 overs alongside Ishant Sharma, who bowled 12. Bumrah and Shami bowled 11 each, and Ravindra Jadeja just got those 3 overs. Ashwin, the pick of the bowlers for sure, 12 overs, 1 for 20. He was very impressive, and maybe, who knows, if the cracks, you could see some patches, you could see some marks around the batsman's feet on both sides. So who knows, maybe they could have, he could still he could still have some say in that match in the fourth innings. Remember, in New Zealand are going to bat fourth, so there's still some cricket to be played, especially tomorrow. It's going to be crucial. India take that 40, 50 run lead. Will try and probably push a little harder in that first innings, and then hope for Ashwin and Jadeja to come into play. Ex-sincere Resu Khan is asking about Pant. He's saying Pant rashness gave his wicket away. That's the way Pant plays. And to be honest, look, if I know Pant didn't get too many runs, but I still see Pant's innings in two halves today. And the first half was when he did not get any runs for 17, 18 balls. Imagine somebody like Rishabh Pant who likes to go so hard, but he was trying to get in. He was trying to assess the pitch. He was trying to assess what the opposition was trying to do, what the bowlers were trying to do. He was trying to look at the field set, what their plans were against him. Um, got that boundary, and I think it was that momentary. It was probably just playing. It was probably lack of concentration there. I agree with you. It was a little rash. It wasn't on, but then he's won you some really impressive games, some absolute stallers, and he's played his part already in Test cricket, and I think he'll still have some say in these conditions. Bumrah looked off color. He did a little, I would say. I agree with you. He did a little, apart from that one spell, he did look a little off color. And hopefully, you see something more from Bumrah in on Monday on day four. Also, the fact is that, like I keep saying, the pitch, the conditions though are a little better for bowling there. So, would Siraj have been a good option in place of Ishant? Is Sabyasachi Poddar? I think it was a good selection. We've spoken about it enough. Ishant Sharma, his experience in England, his experience overall, and the fact that they have a couple of really good left-handers. Ishant Sharma was an automatic choice. Ishant, of course, he's been around for years for India, and he's very, very experienced in England. Well, that's that for now. Well, we'll come back with more, of course, at 10 in the morning to summarize the two European Championship games. India it, at the World Test Championship final. I'll finally summarize the scores for you again. India were 217 all out, New Zealand 101 for 2, and trail India by 116 runs with 8 wickets in hand at the end of day 3. And Devon Conway became the first half century of this WTC final. Of course, Rahane and Virat Kohli had both come close earlier in the Indian innings. And the wickets for India, went to Ashwin, who made the first breakthrough to get rid of Tom Latham, and then Ishant Sharma dismissed Devon Conway moments before the umpires called early stumps due to bad light. Well, that's that for now. Um, we've taken several questions, we've taken several pointers. Definitely, we'll come back and take some more. And on Monday, there'll be plenty. There'll be plenty of points to talk about, and hopefully, it's a better day for India. Hopefully, the India Pacers can come and make some headway. Okay, Argo is asking me to take his question. What makes Kylie Jamieson so special that he got so many wickets? Well, for starters, I think the length that he bowled, he also ensured that he got he India he Kylie Jamieson. I'm taking a question. Uh, I missed that question there. Kylie Jamieson. He's asked several couple of times what makes Kylie Jamieson so special. I think he uses his height very well. He's relentless. He's very tight, very disciplined. And to answer your question, just look at the way he dismissed Virat Kohli, Kylie Jamieson. It was a brilliant delivery. Right before that, Virat Kohli was happy to leave a lot of balls. He was happy to play the waiting game. Um, in these conditions, you have to get the batsman to play. That is what a lot of experts will tell you. You want to get the batsman to play. Um, and that is what Kylie Jamieson did well. That dismissal of Virat Kohli, particularly when he got him, it nipped Virat, it nipped back into Virat Kohli, and it was he did call for a review, but that was he found that he got that perfect length, and when you're that tall and you get some late movement and late seam movement, and it's a little foolish. You're always going to trouble batsmen, even somebody of Virat Kohli's stature and discipline. So that is, I think, that those qualities that you have as a fast bowler, and when you can use double that up with the height that he has, it is always to great advantage. But also the fact is that when he got rid of Rishabh Pant, that was a shot that Pant would have avoided at that stage. And then there were some late order wickets of Ishant Sharma just with Bumrah. I think there was a couple of tailenders apart from Virat Kohli. Rishabh Pant, he got a couple of course, he also got that important wicket of Rohit Sharma on the second day. That was also a beautiful delivery when it was angling into the corridor there from wide of off stump. So those are the qualities that he has. He got those two, three very crucial wickets. Undoubtedly, he's a special bowler. And undoubtedly, you'll see a lot more of Kylie Jamieson when he's bowling that wide of the crease and getting that ball to angle in. Then he gets then he gets some late movement. He's able to swing the ball late, uh, and and like I keep saying with Kylie Jamieson, when you can do all that and with that height, it's always always a great asset for a fast bowler. Well, that's that. Um, as we wrap up this show, we'll come back with plenty more, of course, plenty of updates on the European Championship, the two matches being played between Italy and Wales and Switzerland and Turkey. And then, of course, there will be plenty more of the World Test Championship final as we head into the business end of this game. And hopefully, weather permitting, we'll have a lot more action and we'll be able to see some intense battle between two very, very good sides. Thank you so much for joining me on Sports Today. Thank you for joining me with your questions on this broadcast. Please do subscribe to Sports Today, and I'll see you again. Thank you.